to share. Learn the way to market. Put your business up there. Tune in every day. Digital marketing, yeah. We know the way. Come learn and slay. Build your brand strong. Make your money long. With the podcast groove, can't go wrong. From SEO to social, emails that entice. Grow your audience big. Take our advice. Tune in every day. Digital marketing, yeah. We know the way. Come learn and slay.
All right, welcome back. Digital Marketing NetWurk. It's Monday. We're here to talk about automation and AI, and a topic we don't often talk about, influencer marketing. So I know a lot of times small businesses don't really think about influencers, usually think about the big names and the big brands, but actually a lot of times micro influencers are really making out in the new market. They're really having a lot of influence with a lot of niche like audiences, niche, whatever you want to call it. But Jennifer J., what do you think about these niche markets, micro influencers or influencers, how we use it with entrepreneurs, small brands? What's been your experience?
So I think it's a lucrative opportunity. It's a great way to get your brand in front of your intended audience. But I think that's the key word, your intended audience. So you have to make sure that that particular influencer has your audience, or else you're just wasting money with anything else. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at, okay, I'm gonna put my brand in front of a particular influencer, does that influencer have your audience? Otherwise, you're just wasting money.
That's a good point. You got to make sure that there's what they call brand synergy with that particular audience. And I think that's either where the value lies or doesn't lie with that synergy. I had one experience, and it was actually a positive experience, where the influencer wasn't huge, but there was a specific category that audience identified with, and it happened to be in perfect alignment with the brand. And in that instance, we got really great results without a lot of budget, but again, only because there was that synergy where our audience was identified with that influencer and there was that synergy there. Now, always want to talk about the tools. So, and we always quite often talk about go high level, but really talking about the tools where you can sort of navigate this sort of influencer relationship, using the tools and go high level. And one of the things that I really want to highlight is the the affiliate thing, where you can set your own community. You can set your own community and have your community members track their affiliate performance within the community. So theoretically, you could have influencers, if you've got a little community of influencers that are, say, in the real estate market, you can have them join that community and have them make their own affiliate link and manage an influencer program that way. Do you think, would that work?
I guess it just really depends on who the person is, right? And what's the intended outcome. Yeah, it'll work. So yeah, it'll definitely work. And in collaboration, so here's my thought on that. Two things. Number one, you have to make sure that you have everything set up and ready, and you are, in addition, continuing to drive traffic to that community, right? You can't just depend on the influencer. That's just really, I look at the influencer play as the boost, right? It's just a boost to kind of get things going, but it shouldn't be your only strategy, your only method, and it shouldn't be in replace of you doing things, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is you better make sure you're ready. You better make sure that back end is ready, or again, all of this is for nothing. And I've worked with a couple influencers, and that's what I see when people are like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get on their platform. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that," but their back end isn't ready. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, once you get this exposure, it's coming. So you better be ready on the back end. But what that does is it crashes your efforts, and it crashes any commission that influencer was going to get, because you didn't have things set up properly. So you have to make sure the tools are in place to support this level of traffic that you are about to bring in.
that is a good point. So, what are the things? So, I'm imagining CRM. It's probably a big thing because you're not going to be able to reply to every email yourself, having that sequence set up. Now, what are the other things? I imagine if you have an AI bot, you would want that AI bot
Mhm.
set up with your FAQs or whatever systems you're going to use. What other things should they make sure in place before engaging on a campaign like that?
I would definitely have capture methods in place up front.
Like forms?
Yeah, form, and it doesn't have to be a long form. It could be capturing just a name, capturing just an email. Depending on the platform or how you're engaging with this influencer, it could be a text message, like how I have you text systems. You can have them text the number. It could be QR code scans, but on the back end of these things, there has to be capture methods. And like you said, now the work is done on the back end with the nurture and the follow up, and having the chat bots be able to assist you in following up, answering questions, rapid response. So when I think about chat, I think about rapid response. We have to get to them within that 3-second time frame, or else they're gone. So having all those things set up and ready to go, and mapping this whole process out, like thinking of, what do I want them to do next? Right? What if they're not a qualified lead? Then where do they go? Then what am I going to do? So it's not just getting that. It's requires a little bit further thought into, okay, what am I going to do with them if they're not qualified? Do I have another product or service, or how am I going to nurture them back into the product and service when they are qualified?
Gotcha, and that's a good point because you don't ever want them to. Sometimes not today just means not yet. You don't want to let that lead go. So, what are some of the other options? I know, like a newsletter is a free option in terms of where to put that new unqualified lead. What are some other options that would make sense if they're not ready to convert at the moment?
You can do I think what works well, this is where I feel like every business owner's mind frame should be. You should always have a way to get them ready for you, right? And so whatever made them not qualified, outside of money, whatever made them not qualified, usually if it is money, it's because of a bigger problem. So you have your problem you solve, but you also have your prerequisites. If you can give them the prerequisites, and you can do it in like a mini course. Let's just say you record some videos, you send it to them over a week or whatever, how long, via email, or you put them in, in high level has the courses. So you could put them in there, give them a portal and say, here, but you're nurturing that lead to be able to work with you. And I think that's what most businesses are missing. It's like, if this is the problem, help them with that problem, then they're ready to work with you. Then they have the money. Now, if they don't, then they weren't going to be motivated and a good person to work with in the first place. So I think that would solve two problems. Number one, getting them ready and weeding out bad leads who weren't going to be a good fit for you anyway.
Yeah, and I like that whole concept of getting them ready to work with you. Like even though the project or initiative can't be immediate, there's always those interim things between now and then that they'll need to put in place. So why not give them that upfront information, whether it is what platforms they should be working on, what strategic steps they should be thinking of in between where they are now and working with you. And I like the whole concept of delivering it via email drips. So like a email course or email campaign over the course of time to keep them engaged. So I like those two parts. So once you have those pieces in order, and say now you've got your back end ready and all the things are ready and set to engage, how do you think about those affiliate relationships, whether you're making a combined offer or that influencer is just uh, sharing content or whatever and there's a link? What is the typical compensation or agreement at this level of where folks are playing at?
So I think it really depends, and each influencers now, like, this is a part of their business model because they were getting so many requests. So a lot of them have like like a one sheeter. They'll just send back to you and say this is what it requires. Some may require a deeper, agreement where they want a commission percentage of the sales, right? I feel like none of those are a bad idea. Either you pay one time, we'll just promote your stuff on our channel, on our, social media. Then I think, like, if you have stories, it's another price. If you want it static on the page, it's another price. So of course, I think the story, I don't know, I haven't looked at it in a while, but the story was less than having it static on the page. And that really depends on the engagement of that page, right?
Yeah,
So they kind of have carte blanche to do what they want because it's based on how their page runs. If they have more story views, then that's going to cost more as opposed to just putting it on the page if there's no engagement there. So you really just have to figure out what your budget is and then look at what they have to offer as far as that relationship. And then you need to assess it and make sure it's going to work for your business model.
nice, nice. I think those are some really good tips. I mean, just to kind of run down again what we're talking about. So first, starting all out, making sure there's alignment between the influencer and your brand to make sure that your audience is engaged with that influencer's content to make sure you're going to be able to make sales and it's going to be worthwhile. But then behind that, making sure that your systems are in place. And when you're getting that traffic, you've got, whether it be the rapid response systems and things that you need to make sure you're responding to the emails and getting them when they need to go, make sure all that's set up. And even beyond that, making sure that it's all thought out and that you've got a good way to segment those leads. So whether they are ready to convert today or they are into another hopper that gets a little stream, making sure that the segmentation is figured out. And then last, figuring out that compensation structure, whether or not you want it to be a one-time payment, or if there's an affiliate commission structure, or figuring out if you want stories versus static posts and all those other good things. So I think those are some really good things to really keep in mind. You have any other thing you wanted to give the people before we head out?
Yeah, so talk about, before we leave, the matching software, the AI matching, because it's really
Yeah. So there's a couple of softwares. I think one of the big ones is Captivate.io.
Mhm.
So I think what they've got is a platform where it's pretty much almost like Tinder for brands and influencers.
Mhm.
You put in what your budget is and what your audience is, and what on the other side, what they have is the actual analytic data from the influencers that take part. So if I'm an influencer and I want to take part, I just hook in my Facebook, hook in my Instagram, my YouTube, and they can track the analytics of what my engagement is on the audience. It's not necessarily just a blind trusting of like, hey, this is what I say. You can trust me because I'm an influencer, right?
Right.
So what they do is once they have that data, they'll give you insight to that data, but also the platform understands what audiences would be a match for your product, and then also how realistically the engagement you're going to anticipate, so that he helps you set the price, understand the value you're getting, and not have a surprise, not having transparency into that influencer's audience engagement.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can look at it. One of the things I like though is it assesses the real time engagement, because that's really important, because not saying that this is what they're doing, but there was a time where people were buying followers. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's a huge issue. And so even let's just say you had a dishonest social media manager and you didn't know that's what they were doing. And they were buying followers for your account, making it seem like their efforts were better than they were. Now you
Yeah.
have all these fake followers on your account and you don't even know. So I think it's good for both ways, because it'll make them look like, wait a minute, what? So I really like that, because it protects you and it saves you time, because now you don't have to go and do all of this research to check and see.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That used to be a really big thing, the fake followers and people
Mhm.
buying your likes.
Right. And people are still messaging, talking about, I can help you grow.
Don't
Absolutely.
take the help.
That's all right.
You don't need that kind of help.
Right.
Awesome. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think that was a good number 5. I think that is awesome. All right. Well, that is it. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. Until then, stay automated.
Well, that's all for today, folks. A big thank you for tuning in, and let's give a round of applause. Yes, I can hear it through the screen. To Jennifer J. for her brilliant tips on systems automation. If you want to take your business to the next level, text the word systems to 470-517-7006 and discover how automation can do the heavy lifting for you. Go on, you.
Listen up now. Gotta tell you about a show, Digital Marketing NetWurk, with a secrets flow. We got the tips, yo, strategies to share. Learn the way to market. Put your